You're watching It's Life Live with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go. What's up?
Hey, what's happening? We're gonna see whether or not Instagram holds on.
Okay.
It didn't. It didn't.
Oh yeah, it's got the message up.
Mm-hmm. And I call myself going about it the right way.
Yeah,
But
they're gonna have to make it a little easier for
yeah, because
Instagram.
you gotta hit it separately from the other thing. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. I'm not even gonna bother with it tonight.
Yeah,
That's it.
you gotta do some extra steps
Yeah, it's
as it
anyway.
relates to Instagram. So
Well, hello everybody. Welcome. It's time again. It's Life Live here with Oliver and myself. So Oliver, it's been a long day, I would say.
it's been a long
Um,
day.
it's been a
It's been
long day.
it oddly enough, it's felt like I was telling somebody the other day that it feels like the days are kind of like meshing together. It feels like one long day these last few days, at least for me. Just, there was some stuff I was dealing with, last week, and it's just, it's life. Look at that.
There you go.
Look at
And I
that.
tell you, it changes from day to day. And yet, like you said, it seems like it's just one long day. But hey, we're gonna try to make it a little bit better tonight. Um, we had last week we talked about the keys to financial success, and this week we're going to be talking about unveiling the keys to financial success. And it's interesting because sometimes we think about success, financial success, and we think that it's only one component to it. It's just all about money.
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
and I think it's a little bit more than that. So we're gonna get into it, but before we do, let's introduce who we are. I'm Juan, and that's Oliver. We're here at It's Life Live every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and it's sponsored by Clear Journey, which is a nonprofit that supports individuals that are searching for answers to life's challenges. We're here to offer education and resources. And if you want to know more about Clear Journey, you can go over to clearjourney.org, and you can see all of the areas that we help you on. And it's called the Balanced Life. So if you go over to the website and you look on the Balanced Life, you will see all of the areas that we talk about, of which one of them is finances. And that's what we'll be talking about, has been talking about for some time. But we're going to be talking more about there are other topics that Clear Journey is here to help and assist you in. And we are very excited that you are here with this. We're here with us. If you're here for the first time, thank you. And we appreciate you being here. If you have not had a chance to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do. Hit the like button and give us some comments. Let us know that you're here. Talk to us. Give us some comments. Say hello to us. We're here and we're here for you. So if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, and if by any chance you're here from my meetup group, thank you showing up. I appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up, or at least give us a comment in the tell us something in the comments. Let us know that you're here. But what we're here to do is to give you some insights, some tips, and things that really, for so long we thought about, like I said, we thought about finances is all about money, um, and being successful with money. Um, but to be successful, it happens before the money. It really happens before the money. And And many of us, we get the money, and before you know it, it's gone, and you think like, "Whoa, what happened to it?" Um, it's because being successful happens before you get the money. It's interesting. We often talk about people who win the lottery,
Hmm.
and if you win the lottery, and then a year or two later you broke.
Yeah.
That's that's what financial success is about.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about that is that there was a time where you hear about people who win these large sums of money, and then a few years later they don't have any money left. And I used to always be like, man, that's so ridiculous. Like I could not understand that. And now I've never had that amount of money, but I can say that I do understand how that's possible. I do. I do understand how that's possible because we I mean, not even I can't put myself even closely in the same vein as somebody winning the lottery. Like this was a very small sum of money, very very small, but it was big to me. And after all that transpired with that money, I myself was sitting down like, okay, what happened? Like, where did it go? And so I can understand that, and it seems like that's impossible. That it's impossible for that to happen, but it's really not. And it speaks to what you're saying, right? There's a certain mindset. There's a certain level of and set of practices. There's a certain set of accountabilities that need to be and parameters that need to be put in place. And all of that is in my mind, I'm kind of thinking out loud now, all of that is under the umbrella of financial success. It's not just the dollar amount is just one component of that. And I think that's fantastic that you said that. And for those who are watching now are watching the replay, if you don't get anything else, like that's just one ingredient in the cake. So, you can't just be like, oh, if you give me 50 dozen eggs, I would be great. No, you need some flour and you need some sugar, you need some other stuff. So,
Yeah. It is, to be able to address financial success, um, the first thing that you have to do for me, and this was like I've said before, is to set goals.
mm,
You know, that's the thing that you say. If you don't have money, if you have money and you don't have any goals, that's the way the money is going. It has no direction. And so the first thing you got to do is give it direction. And it's easy when you don't have none and you're like, okay, I ain't got to give no direction. But unfortunately, that doesn't have to do, it doesn't matter how much you have to give money directions.
mhm,
And that's set some goals.
yeah,
And then if we define what financial success looks like, is setting goals, pursuing them, and then achieving them. It's the race and it's the finish line. That's what financial success. It's like you don't get there. It's a journey that you have to be prepared for before you, because if you're building it, then
mhm,
you'll have somewhere you go. That goal is where you're after. But if you got to set the goal before you put the money, because the money is the way you're giving it, the goal is what you're giving the money the directions for.
mhm,
And so when you don't have a goal, you're basically throwing it away moment by moment, no accountability, no
mhm,
checks and balances. You're just throwing it away.
yep. And even if you're not blowing it per se, because I know there's some people who are like, well, I'm not throwing it away. I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And that could very well be the case.
All you got to do is designate it. Say it's a
Right.
goal. Make it a goal.
Right. And that's the thing. Without the direction though, it's very haphazard. Right. So like for me, I can attest, and people who live around, who know me, my family knows that it's very you're gonna have to pull teeth, and you're gonna have to twist my arm to get me to spend money on myself. So like if you're like, hey, why don't you go buy a pair of sneakers? I'm gonna be like, nah, I'm good. Like it's gonna be really tough to get me to do that. So even with that situation that I talked about, I wasn't out in the mall, and I wasn't, at Ruth Chris. I wasn't doing all that. I was doing some what I felt like stuff needed to be done, but it was kind of haphazard. It was like, oh, you know what? Oh, I just thought about, man, I need to pay something on this, and it was just kind of haphazard. And then before you know it, you're like, man, but I had these three other things I was trying to do too, and can't do it. So it's not just about the person who's just out here blowing it, because some people win the lottery and they just out here blowing it. They buying jewelry and they buying, all this, I,
But
I
what I'm
I know
saying
this
is that
person who got like boxing tickets and all this kind of stuff. Like,
it,
nah,
it
chill out.
but what I'm saying is that financial success doesn't have to be based on the quantity or the quantity of
Right,
money that you have.
right.
$50, a hundred
Hmm.
dollars. If you're directing it, it's sort of like compounding interest. It ain't like you
Yeah.
got to have a whole lot of it. You just got to
Hmm.
direct it, and it can build for you. It
Yeah.
can begin to, if what you want is greater than something that you currently have, give it the money directions. You got money. We got money. Everybody got some money. It's
Hmm.
what are we doing with it?
Yeah.
And so one of the things that cause us that gets in the way, take a guess. What do you think one of the things that gets in the way?
Mm. If I had to guess, I would say something that gets in the way is our desire to want something right now, like our lack of patience.
Yeah, yeah, that'll do it. Um, the one I'm wanting to bring up is comparison.
Oh yeah, man, that's huge. That's a killer.
That gets
That's
in our
major.
way.
Man, that's major, bro. Yeah, that's
We
major.
look over and see somebody else, and if we have goals, it'll blow them up.
Hmm.
And so what I'm talking about is how do we now, don't allow other people's financial decisions impact your decisions.
Yeah.
They will get you nowhere, and you'll look at somebody else reaching something that you don't know is a goal of theirs,
Hmm.
meaning that they've put the directions on their resources, on their funds, and you sitting up there looking and wondering, knowing that your circumstances aren't like theirs. And that's the one thing that finance will give you. It will give you an opportunity to let you know what's important to you. It'll
Hmm.
show you what's important. Um, we've got to be able to get past comparison.
Yeah.
That will derail us every time.
Every time, and it's a tough one, man. Like it's a tough one. So even the most, like, it takes some level of discipline. We've talked a lot about discipline over the course of the last several weeks, and this is one of those discipline areas, because you just it's not easy for folk when you see somebody like, man, they're doing this, and it's in all areas, right? Like I think about like the space that I live in, which is the coaching space, right? And you see certain coaches talking about certain different things, and what's happening in their world and that kind of thing. And then you sometimes make the mistake of evaluating where you are in your space against where they are in theirs. And it can be a motivator. So let's play both sides of the coin. I'll play devil's advocate. It can be a motivator if you have discipline.
Again, in the scenario in which we're talking about, this is lacking. This is without discipline.
Right. Without discipline, it's a
This
wrap.
is
Forget about
and
it.
the reason being is because um motivation is a tricky word.
Mhm.
It's because it's something that, are you being motivated for yourself,
Mhm.
or are you being motivated because of what you see? See, it's not to
It's a good
emulate,
question.
it's to motivate.
It's a good question. Yeah.
And if I'm trying to emulate, even being disciplined, trying to emulate ain't going to it's not going to serve you.
Yeah.
It's
That's
not going to
never
serve you.
that's never sustainable.
Yeah. I mean, and so that's why I'm saying comparison is just you want to be very careful in how you um formulate that
Mhm.
comparison like that, because
Yeah.
even if you're disciplined, your motivation to emulate
Mhm. That's a good
could
point.
could carry you down a path that you cannot, no matter how much discipline you have, you cannot duplicate.
Mhm.
You can't duplicate it. So
Or you duplicate it at the expense of something that they didn't have to give up. So you might be able to duplicate it, but it's let's say I'm trying to emulate you, right? And you got a certain house, you got a certain car, you dress a certain way. Now, you didn't have to, you got that, but you didn't get that at the expense of your integrity. You didn't get that at the expense of uh your the your your call to service and what you do for humanity. Like, you didn't have to give up any of that. But me emulating you and me trying to get that, I got to cut corners. So there goes my integrity. I got to, stop doing the stuff that was important to me. So there goes my community service and all those kinds of things. But I got what you got, but I had
well
to give up more than what you had to give up.
and see, and that's very important, because when you say that, this journey that we're talking about has to be maintaining your authenticity.
Hmm.
If you're not maintaining your authenticity, it's all for naught. I don't care what somebody else got and you emulating it. If you have to lose your authenticity to get it,
Hmm.
it's 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 a price that's too high to pay,
Yeah, I
because
would agree.
it's a price that's too high to pay. So I don't even want to entertain, because that's what we're trying to get you to, is really getting to the point of making decisions in line with your authenticity. That's where those goals that you're setting are. This is why the first thing in being able, those key to financial success, is based on your choices. The number one of the things is your choices, and your choices is based on those things that are important to you as it pertains to your finances, because your finances are going to be an indicator as to what you spend, what's important to you.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, I'm gonna jump to the end for a minute just for the sake of this statement. And there's a point where it's called the mirror effect.
Hmm.
And what your bank statement does and your bank account is like looking in the mirror, or your bill. When you get at the end of the month, you look at your bill statement, guess who you see in there?
You.
You. You look at your bills and you go, you see your deductions and all your stuff that's in your checking account, and you go like, who are you? That's who you are. You can't fake that.
Hmm.
But we choose not to go look in that and just go wonder why don't have no money at the end of the month, and we don't think about looking at it and looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
When we look in the mirror, then we can begin to make some decisions that can help us future forward. Like you were saying, that there's some things that I can make an adjustments to. That's what looking in the mirror is all about, is being able to make adjustments. But if you don't want to look in the mirror,
Yeah.
you won't know what needs to be adjusted.
Right.
So,
And
so
you'll have a false sense of what is, because you'll be thinking one thing and you out here looking crazy and you thinking you
yeah,
GQ.
but the thing about it is that we look at it and get to that point, and we think somebody else is crazy.
True.
We don't even think it can't be me.
Right.
Somebody, they crazy.
Hmm.
It ain't me. And see, again, this goes back to being able to be in control, being successful with your finances. It's not allowing somebody else to be in control. It's about it's me, it's me.
Right.
How do I manage and stay in control?
Hmm.
And so your choices, you really have to be able to be conscious and making decisions that are in line with what's important to you. Now, see,
Right.
we talked about it a few weeks ago, and we were talking about how do you make choices. We talked about the SMART, the be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Those steps in making a choice allows you to be able to be authentic to who you are.
Hmm.
And when you apply those things and give finances or money the directions to those things, then you'll begin to see the benefit of your choices, and your finances begin to build your choices, begin to enhance your choices, begin to make them become a reality.
Hmm.
And that's what the choice is. The next one has to do with, and I think this is the pivotal point of being able to be, and again, these are all mindset based.
Hmm.
You've got to have the right mindset to be able to be financially successful. And this is the second one, and it's to be committed.
Mm.
See, commitment means that you're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Right. And you're
There
going to
is
be
no
consistent
excuses
in
in
doing that.
commitment.
Right.
Huh?
I said, and you're going to be consistent in doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
But see, we have a difficult and a misunderstanding what commitment is.
Hmm.
When See, commitment means that there is no excuse, there's no other way, no options. I like to say it's sort of like being in an airplane with a parachute on your back and jumping out the door. That's commitment. That's a commitment to going down.
Mm.
Okay. Whether the parachute opens up or not,
Hmm.
that's what a commitment is. You don't get no chance to go back and say, let me try this again. You don't get a chance to say, oh, is there another one?
Hmm.
No, you committed to hitting the ground with or without that parachute open.
Hmm.
And that's what commitment is. Are we willing to make that kind of commitment to our finances and say, I'm gonna either burn or I'm gonna float. I'm
Hmm.
either gonna crash, but I'm gonna be committed to it. I'm willing to accept whatever my choices are
Hmm.
in line with my commitment to making sure that they become a reality. And that's where you talk about consistency. That's the commitment. Not just sometimes. And I think a lot of times we think that our finances is you get there. This thing called financial success. No, it's
Hmm.
the journey.
Hmm.
It's not something that you get there. You get some goals, you set some goals, but this thing called financial success, It's a constant journey. It's doing it continually,
Mm.
being mindful and being conscious of that which is necessary every day, every minute, every hour, and knowing that the more you know about your finances, once you begin to get a routine, this thing gets a lot simpler.
Mhm.
It's not until you get that routine is that things get a little thrown off. Unexpected things happen a whole lot more frequently when you don't have a routine,
Yeah.
because we have a tendency to go here today and there tomorrow and someone else there. But when you have a routine, you're basically doing the same thing over and over again. There ain't no surprises and tricks. Now, if
Right.
something goes wrong with that, then you go, okay, I got something for that,
Hmm.
you know. But until we get a routine, we just throwing it in the wind.
It's true, and that's no way to live.
Well,
It's not. Well, it's not sustainable. Let's put it that way.
well, here's the thing. Um, we have the answers to it if we only want to entertain it. I mean, in many cases, it means making some sacrifices, something that we've talked about as it relates to finances. It requires sacrifice, it requires discipline, and it
Mhm.
requires responsibility.
Yeah.
And those are the attitudes that you need to be able to possess to be able to have the choice, make the choice.
Hmm.
Okay. Choices mean sometimes you got to sacrifice. Okay. Be disciplined, the commitment. You've got to say, I got to do this.
Hmm.
And then the next one is called it's being acting on it. You've got to act on being consistent, being committed to be able to make this thing become a reality. You got to act on it. It's just not going to happen.
Hmm.
We've got to put the effort to do the work to make the goals become a reality.
Hmm.
That's the consistency,
Yeah.
the energy, the work that we have to do. There's no shortcuts to success, to financial success. And that's why when I say if you hit the lottery and a year later, 2 years later, you don't have any money, there is no there's no trick to this
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
There's no trick to it. It's like this is how it works. All we got to do is say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to direct. And again, this all leads back to what a budget, because a budget gives you something to direct your resources, and it gives you a snapshot, a picture.
Hmm.
And that picture is that mirror that I refer to, that you can begin to see where you can make adjustments, where you can make things that are not being served, that are serving you. You can say, okay, that's not serving me.
Hmm.
That's not a good use of directing my resources, and say, okay, I can pull the plug on that.
Yeah.
It's that type of Those are the types of things that we oftentimes don't think about, the commitment, the choices and the actions, and we get caught up in seeing things from somebody else's perspective, and we lose our own identity,
Hmm.
even with our finances. And that's where, and this really gets to the point where we talk about, hey, can we um, be authentically ourselves with our finances? And I'm going to tell you, if you're able to be authentic with your finances, you can be authentic with your relationships. You can be authentic in your business associates. You can be authentic um, with who you are as an individual. You know what I mean? And do the health things. I am working on my health. It
Hmm.
ain't easy. It's not easy, and it's not always comfortable, but it takes work. There's
Yeah.
not one area of life that we talk about at Clear Journey that doesn't take work. it starts with the mindset, and then it takes the work, the actions to make it happen. And I think, as you know, in your coaching, you can give them the directions, you can show them what they need,
Hmm.
but who got to do the work?
Still got to do the work. They still got to do the work. And that's why I was just telling somebody just recently, like your coach is only as great as how much work you put in. Because you can have the greatest coach in the world in terms of their ability to disseminate information and to put inspiration and motivation and encouragement and education and experience on the table. But after they put all that stuff on the table, if you walk away from the table and don't do nothing with it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's all for nothing at that point. So yeah, that's important. That's good wisdom.
It's how do we move beyond where we are to where we want to be? And it really gets to the point that when we define our values and our priorities,
Hmm.
we begin to take control of our finances. That's
Mm.
how simple, in the sense of, because it's at that point we begin to recognize the need to direct our resources, to direct them, give them some directions.
Hmm.
Um, when we create a personalized budget, meaning that, granted, you might have heard about how the budget's supposed to be,
Hmm.
but when you have personal values and personal um, priorities, then you make your budget yours. It
Mm.
becomes a very personal document that is, it's like you in the mirror.
Hmm.
It's not like somebody else's goals and somebody else's. It's not like you're gonna walk up to the mirror and you're gonna see Michael Jordan. You're
Hmm.
gonna go open up. You're gonna open the mirror and you're gonna see you, and that's what you want your budget to be.
Hmm.
And then practice conscious spending. See, sometimes we spend unconsciously. It's sort of like eating unconsciously.
Hmm.
We just spend
Hmm.
because we have it in our pocket.
Right.
Um, we've got to, you know, um, the best thing to happen. I don't know if it was the best thing that ever happened. It used to be a time where McDonald's, they only took cash. They didn't take debit. They didn't take credit
Hmm.
cards. It was only cash.
Hmm.
And I never had any cash with me. I mean, I very rarely ever had cash. But because I didn't have it, I could drive by McDonald's every day because I didn't have no money.
Hmm.
It's just that I didn't have it. And then McDonald's realized that they were losing my business. And they started taking credit cards. And
Hmm.
so and but that's conscious spending. Whatever
Hmm.
you got to do, you know, if it means don't have no money in your pocket, if
Hmm.
it means leave a credit card at home, you know, don't let, just spending
Hmm.
just because, that's dangerous.
That is
Um,
dangerous. And Apple Pay has made it incredibly, and Samsung Pay, Google Pay have made it extremely uh, easy,
yeah, and
very,
see,
very accessible.
and everybody has a phone with it on it.
Hmm.
And again, who benefits from that?
Not me.
The vendor.
Exactly.
The vendor. They
Not
making it
me. And I
easy.
don't
Like I said,
benefit.
McDonald's said they figured it out, and they said, okay, I want Juan's money too. I gotta make it easy for him to give me his money,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they doing. Apple Pay, all it easy way to get their money. You don't even have
Hmm.
to think about it. They be like, oh, you got Apple Pay? Oh yeah, we got Apple Pay. We take Apple Pay too.
Hmm.
I mean, it's that easy, and it has. That's why I'm saying we've got to be more conscious of how we're allowing other people
Mm-hmm.
to direct our money.
Yeah.
They're directing our resources. And it's because they're directing our resources that we can't have the financial success that we're looking for. We can do it.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to be willing to put the effort in that it takes to do it. There
Yeah.
is no easy fix. And I can't
There
I
is no
can't
easy
stress it.
fix.
There is no easy fix.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because that whole listen, that whole thing about, and I think was it Dexter that said it when he was on, that whole thing about, man, if I just had 10,000 more, nope,
Mhm.
that don't work. That don't work unless you're already disciplined enough to have 100,000.
And then
Then
it
if you
and
have
then
then if you have 10,000 more, you're probably making smart choices anyway. But for the average Joe who's like, man, I'm in a hole, and if I just had 10,000 more, what I told somebody the other day, it's like pouring a cup of dirt into a 6-foot hole. And you could be like, yeah, if I had 65 more cups, but they still would all be going into that 6-foot hole. And 65 cups of dirt, 6,500 cups of dirt would feel like a lot of dirt. But if the hole is 20 feet deep,
again, you've ever heard the adage about how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
mm-hmm,
We've got to be able to understand the value of, first of all, if we got a hole,
mm-hmm,
that the what we are missing out on because of that hole
mm-hmm.
is greater than not filling that hole. It's
Mm,
greater
okay.
than not filling that hole. See, it's like the old thing. I mean, in many cases, we have to, when we do some self improvement, we got to deprogram. We got to unlearn some things before
Mm-hmm,
we can learn some things.
mm-hmm,
Finances is the same way when you're looking at it from a negative perspective.
mm-hmm.
When we enter into it as a whole, as something that we've dug a hole, we've got to be able to
Right,
say it's more important that I fill that hole than not fill that hole.
right,
And
right.
and see that's the mindset that we have to have. Because that hole is going to continually be a burden until we fill that hole.
It will be.
Until we fill that hole.
Yep.
Now and here's the point. You can't leave that hole and thinking just because you're not around it that it ain't affecting you. You just can't decide to walk away from that hole.
Right.
That hole is connected to you. It's like a ball and chain.
Yeah. I'm just gonna ignore it.
Yeah, that don't work. And so when I say discipline, when I say commitment, I know that this is not an easy thing. But what I'm
Mm-hmm,
saying is we've got to see value in being able. Here's the first thing: if we can't prevent the hole, we've
mm-hmm.
got to be able to value filling it back in.
Yep.
We've got to value filling it back in because what's going to happen with the knowledge and things that you're going to learn from filling that hole back in is that it's going to provide you opportunities that you would have never been able to see if you had not filled those holes back in. Fill that hole back in.
Mm-hmm,
You will not be able to see. Opportunity is only if you can see them. They're
mm-hmm.
all around us. But if you can't neither see it nor get to it, it does you no good to see it if you
Yeah.
can't get to it.
Yeah.
And if you got a hole, if the opportunity is on the other side of that hole and you got an opportunity, you can't get to it. It's just like it's not there. It's just like it's not there.
Mhm.
And that hole is preventing you from getting there.
Yeah.
And we've got to be able to see value in putting it. And granted, when we're trying to fill that hole back up, maybe there is no opportunity over there yet. And we have to be disciplined enough to, even if a opportunity does apply or appear,
Hmm.
not to be too anxious if we know we got this hole that we still dealing with.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
I know that's not an easy pill, but there are ways that you can help. And that's why you go back to what Dexter was talking about. There's a system. You can put you on a system,
Yep.
and it's a discipline system that can get you out of that position, that situation.
Hmm.
But it doesn't happen overnight. That hole we dig in many instances didn't happen overnight.
Didn't happen overnight.
In
Will
many
take,
instances.
yeah, often will take just as long, if not longer, to fill it than it did to dig it.
I
It's
know
not.
that's the story.
It
I know
won't be
that's
short. It won't be shorter. Well, it could be shorter, depending on what you do. It could be. It could
well,
be.
I mean, here's the point. Here's the thing. Let's just talk about debt. If you got credit card debt,
Hmm.
high interest, low interest. You want to pay off the one with the higher interest first.
Hmm.
There's a system. And
Right.
so there's a system to getting it down, but it's such a rewarding process that while you're doing it, you're working towards something, a goal. And that's why it's so important to have the goals.
Hmm.
Um, Cultivate, the last one is cultivate a financial mindset. And that's all that we're basically talking about.
Hmm.
If you don't have a financial mindset and you entertain the mindset of just kicking the can down the street, then that's all you're gonna do. You're gonna keep on
Yeah.
kicking it down the street. But that can is connected to you
Hmm.
and it's going to be dragging you down.
Yeah.
So I mean, just to be encouraged that there's no easy way. There's just having clarity so that you can make the right decisions, take the right course of action. And in some cases, and in many cases, it just might mean that you could be that example, not only for maybe you getting out of debt, but maybe preventing someone else from getting into that
Yeah.
by your actions, by the way in which you pursue your situation, our situation. You know, to be able to tell somebody that I was in this situation, but I don't want you to get into that situation.
Hmm. And
That's again,
that's what it's all about.
that's what this is. Again, that's the ability for us to invest into the next generation so that they can be able to get a little bit of a head start, even in spite of the fact that maybe we're gonna be struggling. We're gonna be fighting, we're gonna be scrimmaging, trying to get out.
Hmm.
But it's just to show them, hey, don't get here.
Right.
Don't get here. So
It's good.
that was the trick, the unveiling the keys to the financial thing. It's not easy, but it's rewarding.
Hmm.
It might not be necessarily I'm going to get the benefit of it right now,
Hmm.
but we have the ability to share that information with others so they might be able to get what it is that we don't have to go through this. And what does that take?
Hmm.
That's selfishness. We have to be selfless to
Right.
be able to show value to the next generation.
And I think it's important that we do so.
Yeah. Again, that's one of the benefits of understanding. Again, one of the adage of what Clear Journey is all about is based on the foundation of my book, Love Made Simple. And it's all about being able to the love for humanity, being able to move forward. And if you haven't had a chance, you can pick up a copy of my book, Love Made Simple. It's the foundation for Clear Journey, and how we have the right mindset to go through this journey called life. And it's really not something that's a mystical thing, but there is a solution. There's a way that we can do it if we got the right mindset. And the mindsets come from the attitudes of love.
Mhm.
That's where it's in the book. So it's on Audible. You can hear it, or you can go to Amazon and purchase it. But that all of these things support help us in continuing to be here to help everybody navigate life more successfully. Um, I want to offer you this also. If you go to clearjourney.org, um, we have an ebook. It's called Budgeting Made Easy. Here is an opportunity. It's free. Go to the website. You can get it. It's totally free. Nothing. Just go to clearjourney.org. We want to send you the ebook. It's how we begin to direct our money that's in line with our authentic selves. You get to do that. We want to help you. Go to clearjourney.org and just ask us to give us, just tell us that you want that and we'll send it out to you. All right. In addition to that, we have something that we're excited about that's coming up real soon, and it is our webinar. It's our Harmony at Home webinar series, and this time we're talking about how to protect your finances. We're excited about this. We're looking forward to it coming up very shortly. It's going to be April the 20th at 6 p.m. And you can register now. Just go also over to clearjourney.org and you can see it right there. Register. We will send you the link and it will be there. We are excited about it. We have 3 professionals that are going to be there for you to help give you some tips on how to be able to protect your finances. That's another very easy thing that we don't really take into consideration. You were talking about earlier, Apple Pay and all these ways to get your resource, get money from you. Oh, they got different ways to get scamming to get your money from you too.
Mhm.
So we're going to talk about all of the things, even in how you help you build your finances. You want to be able to be with the right people that's going to help you build your financial and your wealth and all of that so that you'll be able to have that legacy that you can pass on to your next generation. It's
Yep.
all connected.
It is.
So we
Yep.
want you to join
Gotta
us.
be
Come
there.
on out. Yeah, come on out. We're excited. We're doing this for you so that you can be able to navigate life more successfully and be um, successful in your finances. Okay.
And it's
Oliver,
free.
yes, it's free.
So listen, you want to get some good financial education. You want to increase your financial literacy. You want to get some tips and tools on how to protect what you have. Come on out. All you have to do is pay attention. That's it.
That's the only cause.
That's the only cost. Pay
So
attention.
by all means, go over the Clear Journey and look around and see everything else that we got to talk about, the other 8 areas that we're talking about. Come on out and see what's happening at Clear Journey. Oliver, let people know how they can reach you and get in touch with you.
Indeed, if you're a social media person, you can reach me right there. That's the social media handle everywhere. You can also email me. This is the email on the screen. Author, speaker, and coach in the relationship building and men's enrichment spaces. Author of the book Overcoming the Man Laws for the man who wants to be his best, despite what he was taught. It's just my passion, my calling, if you will, to see relationships thrive and men win in every area of their lives. So let's have a conversation.
Yep, yep, yep. Uh, Oliver is one of our strategic partners. So by all means, by reaching out to him, you're reaching out and through us. So we want to be able to help him, support him in what he's doing. Again, if you want to reach me, you can just reach me at info@clearjourney.org, or anywhere on the website. You'll see some way of reaching out and getting in touch with me. But I'm here. We're here to direct you to the resources that are needed, that you need in your finances. Also, if you're also hearing this, a few weeks ago, we had Dexter on. And if anybody is interested in learning more about your budgeting or your finances, he's offered to give you a year free if you just send a debt free to info at Clear Journey. Um, it's one or two more people that he's willing to do for free for a year if you just send us an email that says in the subject debt free, and we'll get him in touch with you. All righty. So, any other closing words, Oliver?
No, I think it's good information, man. We gotta have the right mindset as it relates to our money. That's crucial because what we learned tonight is that the bag is just one component of this whole thing. It's not the whole pie. So make sure that you are setting goals. Make sure that you are going after them, and let's get our heads right around this thing.
And being authentic.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. We really want to be who we want our funds to represent who we are. And that's what it's all about.
Hmm.
Sometimes we realize that, hey, let's look at the mirror. Let's see who we are.
Hmm.
Look at our bank statement. Look at where we're spending our money. Is it getting us where we want to go?
Hmm.
Is it temporary? Is it building something?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Well, well, again, we thank you for coming out, spending your evening with us. If you're listening to this on record, hey, we're here every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. Join us. We really appreciate you having the time to spend with us today. And as usual, we can't change your life, but we can surely help you navigate it a little bit better. So until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.